I didn't think I'd be back so soon, but here I am. I have the virus. And if you can't tell, I'm really suffering. Considering I didn't get the life-saving, clearly very effective jab that works so well, everyone is getting threatened and bribed to take it. It's really amazing to think I'm alive at this current moment. What a medical mystery. Anyway, I'm back because I had an idea for a video. I wanted to give some big sister type advice to some new patients, caregivers, and even people newly in remission for the new year. Basically, wherever you are on your cancer journey, I wanted you to hear some advice from someone who is currently 5 years out and months away from being officially cured. For those that are new here, hi, my name is Nick. In 2016, I was diagnosed with double-hit lymphoma. I was prescribed 6 rounds of R-EPOCH chemotherapy, 10 rounds of radiation to the pelvis, an autologous stem cell transplant, and a total hip replacement. It's been a long road, but I am here trying to talk to other people who are going through the same thing. Obviously, none of this is going to be medical advice because I am not a medical professional. If you're on the sensitive side, be forewarned, you do not have to listen to any of this. The first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that people will say stupid shit. There are alternatives to chemo. I saw this girl on TikTok who cured her stage 4 cancer with lemon juice, and it was amazing. Like, you don't have to put your body through all that. What kind of cancer did she have? She didn't say. This is almost an inevitability. I will say that everyone reacts differently to the news of someone close to them being diagnosed with such a potentially dangerous disease. And my real advice would be to give them a little leniency. Of course, let them know if what they say makes you feel a certain way, but what I'm saying is just expect them to say stupid things because it's gonna happen. Alright, another point I want to bring up is that attitude is everything. It's such a cliche, but it really is true. When I was diagnosed with a cancer of some kind, before they did the biopsy and before they told me it was lymphoma, it was literally my mother's birthday. I had just told my job that I would probably need to be replaced for the foreseeable future. I was thinking about my death and what my parents were going to find in my apartment. I was thinking I'd never get married, and I was thinking about telling my boyfriend to move on. Basically a situation people in their early 20s should never have to be in. However, all I had on my mind was my mom. Like I said, it was her birthday. She had been through so much in the past few years. Things I won't talk about on here. And I just remember thinking, she cannot lose me. Whatever this is, I will do whatever it takes to get cured and over it, survive and win. And I just decided to be happy, even in my circumstances. And I cannot lie to you, this helped me tremendously. I'm not saying you can't be upset and devastated. I mean, there are definitely days where I could not hide the misery of a spinal headache. But this is as genuine as I can be. Choose happiness. You will be grateful that you did. People will admire you for your grace and bravery. And who knows, maybe you could even inspire someone to handle hardships from their own lives. I think we can all understand the power of positive energy and putting it out there. It's definitely contagious. I had one person who I'd be honest with and vent to them and say, this crap sucks, I am miserable. I told them everything that was wrong and all the pain I was in. So I did have an outlet, and I definitely recommend you having an outlet too. Even if it's a different person every day, just to spare certain people from the pain. Or even a nurse, because let's be honest, they know more than anyone what you're going through. Definitely let out your feelings because bottling things up is harmful as well. But spare your friends and family as much as you can. The pain and suffering of watching you go through something they're powerless to stop. My family still brings up the fact that I handled myself so well, and I think, like, how did I ever do that? Trust me though, positivity is a choice, and making that choice, I wholeheartedly believe, made things so much more easy on me. Another point I'd like to bring up is you will lose friends. Cancer is like graduating high school, falling into wonderful real life. You will learn who your real friends are. I lost a few friends after cancer. I've even had a few enemies stoop to new lows I didn't even think was possible. Back in 2016, I had a Tumblr blog. Beyond cringe. I've since deleted a lot of it. Ugh. And I had a few followers on there from my real life, but not too many. Mostly it was just internet friends, random strangers, and myself as a space to vent my problems to. I refuse to put the fact that I had cancer on any of my main social media pages like Facebook or Instagram. I didn't want anyone but my close friends and family to know that I was going through this. Just because you never know what enemy or fake friend would take this information and be secretly happy about it. And for my 24-year-old undeveloped brain, that was just too much for me to handle, so I hid it. So where I vented about chemo, about my situation, was my Tumblr account. I did post a picture on my Facebook account with my blonde wig on. It was platinum blonde, exactly like the hair I lost. And I thought it was cute because to me it was like the ghost of my hair. I'm a comic book artist. I love things like that. Anyway, it wasn't long before I got anonymous messages on my Tumblr account. And one of them said, quote, "You don't have cancer. You literally dyed your hair blonde. The proof is on Facebook." Literally the dumbest thing I've ever heard. First of all, happy that my $50 wig from Halloween Express fooled you. That was kind of the point. Second, unless you physically witnessed me pulling out the bleach and dyeing my hair, that is not proof. Of course I knew who it was because I was having problems with this person not too long ago. But I have no proof because in the end they didn't have the balls enough to make the comment with their own identity. I also had a friend who got rather emotional with me and told me that I was lucky I got emergency insurance when I got sick because most people who get sick and don't have insurance just die. She also told me she was convinced I was going to die because I was stage 4. And then she stormed out of the house. This was on like one of my chemo breaks, like the 2 weeks I was home in between chemotherapies. And at the time, I was laughing because of the pure ridiculousness of the situation. Like, obviously it was a little hurtful, but it was just that much more ridiculous than hurtful. But she was on my list of people that I never thought in a million years that would betray me or stop talking to me because of emotional situations and or something stupid. But here we are years later, and she recently told one of my friends that I should go F myself after almost forgetting her entire existence. LOL. So yeah, you will lose friends. That will happen. I mean, hopefully not, but it will happen. But if it does, good riddance. Expect it, and it will be people you don't expect. The next point I'd like to make, and it's a big one. Do not date until you are secure with yourself while in remission. Being in remission, in my opinion, and in my experience, was the most difficult part of having cancer. It was the time where it absolutely hit me that I had just been through something traumatic. I was a whole different person. I was in pain, I was in shock, and I was in a medical prison of constant doctor's appointments, and the fear of recurrence was always in the air. Also, being a young woman suffering from a disease that makes you ugly, which I've mentioned before, my self-esteem was absolutely on the floor. Sounds like a great recipe for a healthy relationship, right? Well, really soon after treatment, I fell into a huge depression. I felt like my 20s were robbed from me, and I wanted to go out and have all the fun I possibly could. I wanted to forget about the fact that I had doctor's appointments all the time, and the fact that I was in pain and angry. And it was then that my best friend from work came to visit me and came to one of my PET scans. He lived in the state next to mine, a few hours away, and we met when both of our companies merged together, and he got transferred to my state. We hated each other at first, but after a little feud and an apology, we were like this. Best friends. And he was a great time. To this day, I've had like the best adventures of my life with this guy. Shout out to you because you're always like the first to watch my videos and I truly appreciate it. So it was inevitable. I fell for him and we started dating. At first, everything was great. I was driving to his house all the time to basically escape my life. But as you can imagine, as reality set in, so did some of our problems. I started taking my pain and insecurities out on him. He definitely took it personally, which I cannot blame him for. And it just went from perfect to toxic prematurely. And ultimately, we didn't survive. Basically, don't use someone as a form of escape. It's better to face your problems head on and have a clear mind before dragging someone else into your world. It is not fair and you will fail. If not sooner, then later. Also, on the other side of things, and I'm not talking about a particular person right now, there are manipulative people out there who can and will take advantage of your situation. Whether it be charities paying for your bills, and people who don't want to pay rent will take advantage of that situation. Manipulative people and users also pick up on the fact that you are mentally at your lowest, and they prey on that type of person. They will use it to treat you however they want to treat you, and they know that they can get away with it because where's this person gonna go? I'm all they have. They aren't gonna leave me. I did have another person throw some really low moments in my face. Like, I have spoken briefly on this channel about experimenting with drugs to help with my physical pain from avascular necrosis, not to mention my undeniable, very obvious mental issues. Thankfully, it never developed into a full-blown addiction, but it still happened and I'm very open about it. I had a person literally mock me, and it hurt so much because I loved this person dearly. I couldn't understand why they would rub something in my face that they knew I wasn't proud of. This was also someone who had a close family member suffer from the same disease that I had, and still didn't understand the pain I was going through and had zero interest in even attempting. Lord, thank you for delivering my misloaded ass to the correct truck. Amen. Just be aware that these things happen. It's life. And definitely learn the warning signs of someone who could possibly be taking advantage of you. People will hurt you. Friends, family, relationships. And that is the truth. Not everyone is going to be empathetic and understanding towards your situation, even though we're talking about cancer here. And that is a sad reality. Another point I'd like to make is to focus on you. If you can, don't work. Focus 100% on getting physically healthy. Chemo takes a lot out of you, and not just your electrolytes. Stay out of unnecessary drama. If your family and friends start anything around you, respectfully ask them to do it elsewhere. Not here, not now. Use this time to focus on goals you want to achieve when you feel better. Where do you see yourself when this is over? What can you do to achieve this? Do things you love that you haven't had time to do in years. Use this opportunity to start something over or start something up. When I was a kid, I was very creative. I wrote stories, I drew pictures, and I wrote comic books. And when I became an adult, that all stopped. Life got in the way. I had a boyfriend, my own place, and a full-time job, and I never had the opportunity to be creative. When I got sick and I couldn't work anymore because of the hip fracture, and because of the fact that I had to get inpatient chemotherapy, I had to occupy my time with something. And since my life had so much unhappiness, it had to be something I really enjoyed. And I had gotten so many coloring books. That's another thing. There will be coloring books. Smash like if you've ever received a coloring book while going through cancer treatment. And for a while, I colored. I colored pictures for hospital staff, like the janitor who cleaned my room, the person who brought me food, and the people that would transport me to radiation and back. But when I eventually went home on chemo breaks, I realized that I could color in my own pictures of my own drawings, and I started drawing again, and thank God I did. Because if I never got sick, I don't think I would have started drawing or painting again. And let me just say, painting is such a deep passion of mine, so much so that when I do it, it can alleviate physical pain, especially when I know I'm creating something for someone else. It gives me unexplainable happiness, and that is undeniably a gift from God. Another point I'd like to make is make plans and look forward to things. At night before I went to sleep, I would listen to music and I would imagine myself as a survivor. It was like a little fantasy. I imagined me and my friends walking down Duval Street, me in my purple wig, living my best life after cancer. It sounds so simple, but it helped so immensely. Because when you're going through the motions of treatment, the light at the end of the tunnel could seem so far away. But imagining yourself in future scenarios, I highly recommend it. It gives you something to look forward to, and makes the time go by quicker and helps with the positive thinking. Now, the next point I'd like to make is don't use cancer as an excuse. I know. In this world, it's incredibly common to write yourself inside this victim narrative where certain parts of your identity keep you down and there's nothing you can do about it. Do not do this. I mean, do whatever you want, but nobody likes a victim. Pick yourself up. Of course, ask for help when you're down, when you need it. But I'm telling you now, the sympathy ends when the hair grows back. No one cares. No one understands your plight anymore. Learn to stand on your own, and trust me, nothing can knock you over. Let this experience build you up instead of tearing you down. And this goes exactly with my last point. Don't let this disease turn you bitter. Instead of asking, why did this happen to me? Ask why it happens to anyone. Choose to speak to other people going through the same thing. My last point I'd like to make is, time is on your side. It will pass quickly. Going through it, it was as if time slowed down. The end seemed so far away. As time went on, and I got to be a year out and then 2 years out, I had less and less reminders of cancer, and the time seemed to go faster. And it's gotten to the point where cancer is so divorced from my mind. If I didn't have the scars, the constant doctor's appointments, I don't think I would think about it at all. And that is a beautiful feeling. I am now the survivor of 5 years. I was only a dream in my head back in 2016. Knowing better at this point, it was all God that got me through the whole thing. And I want to thank him, because I could not have done it alone. None of it. Even though I kind of had my back turned on him back then. That is the power of his love. Please let me know in the comments if you have any questions about cancer, survivorship, remission, or even treatment. I personally am going into a different realm in my work. I unfortunately won't have much time to post on here as I would like, but please comment here. I'll try to answer every single comment, and I will try to make videos in the future. I hope you liked that video. I hope it's not too short after all the editing. God is great, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.